Okay, good evening. We're on to Tzaddik Amid Beis. We're in the sugya of Kol Yisrael Haba Tchias HaMesim. We saw yesterday a Geschmacka Toras Chaim that just gave us a whole different scenario of what is going on. So let's with the Toras Chaim guys. We always thought you die, you go to Olam Haba. It doesn't seem that way because the Gemara is calling Tchias HaMesim Olam Haba. It's being arrived for Tchias HaMesim. So what is that? That's called the Olam HaNeshamas. So Olam HaNeshamas, there you have the concept of Gan Eden, the Neshama going to Gan Eden direct, or the Neshama going to first Gehenim, and then getting purified and go to Gan Eden. That's the Olam HaNeshamas. And now Tchias HaMesim is that you have Tchias HaMesim, you come back, and that is Olam Haba. That was the opinion right of the Ramban. It's put down in the Toras Chaim is mashma from our Gemara. We did bring another opinion down of the Rambam. The Rambam says that no, that the final destination is one of incorporeal without a body. Tchias HaMesim is going to take place beforehand, right? It could be taking place before some Mashiach, but not necessarily that's that the final destination for the soul. That's not the final destination for the soul. So we're up to Tzaddik Amid Beis, full lines up. Now, Paro was a name for Egyptian leaders. Avimelech was a name for Pelishtim leaders, right? Cleopatra was a name for what? For queens of Egypt. So it says over here, Cleopatra, Shola Cleopatra, Malchus Esreb. This is Cleopatra. That this is not, again, that's not the Cleopatra. It's not Elizabeth Taylor, guys. Okay. What? Okay.
Not this group.
Okay, anyway. Okay, I'm dating myself. Okay, so that Cleopatra lived 100 years before this Misa. Indeed, she did as well. Anyway, so Shola Cleopatra Meya Amru Yadana the Chaye Shachve. We know that those people that live, they die. Right? Dichsiv Yatzitzu Meir Ke'esav Aretz El Kashin Oindim Arumim. When they get up, do they get up without clothing? Or they get up with clothing. So Amar Law. So Reb Meir told what Cleopatra. Kalvachayim Mechita. You can learn a Kalvachayim from a wheat germ. Umachita shenikbara aruma, a wheat germ that is buried, unclothed. Yoitza bekama levushim, that they come back with many sheaves of what covering. Sadikim shenikvarim belvusheim, they're buried in the levushim, in the tachrichin and the talaisim. Alachas kama bekama, that they come back what? Dressed. Amle Kesa Reb Gamliel said again. Kesa is another example out of the name of the Caesar. What was the Caesar of Rome? They had these kind of names. So the Caesar told Reb Gamliel, you Jews, you say, you Jews say, use people, right? The Shachve Chaya, that the people who are dead will come back to life. Hahabe Afara, but one second, they are dirt. Afara Mikochai can offer Taka live. So Amar Lei, so Barte said the daughter of the Caesar Shavke, I got this. Very interesting one. She says, I got this one. Look at the Rashi. This case of Gamliel Shavke, the daughter of the Caesar, told Rabbi Gamliel, I got this one. You have two yoitzrim, two potters in our city, two people who work with vessels. One's able to form its vessel from water, and one is able to form it from what? From clay. Which one would you say is more praiseworthy? Which one is a bigger chiddush? So Amalei, so the Caesar told his daughters, obviously. Amalei, so Amra lei, she said to him, Min amayim tsar, min atilei kol shekain. Kadosh Baruch Hu creates beings from mayim, from a type of zera, right? The human zera of the male. It's a mamish mayim ba'alma, and yet he's able to create min atilei kol shekain, right? Can he certainly create from what? From the ground, from something that exists. The very Rishmol Tana, Kalvachayim Memi Klis Chuchis. We have a Kalvachayim Klis Chuchis. Ma Klis Chuchis she Amolan Beruach Basa V'Dam Nishberu. Klis Chuchis, a glass kli. It's the work of the Ruach of Basa V'Dam. They make glass. They blow, right? They heat up and they blow into it, and that creates a glass. well, not grass, but you blow into that too. But glass, with right, yes. Basa v'dam nishbru yeshlem takana, and then right I'm all about basa v'dam nishbru. If it breaks yeshlem takana, if the glass breaks, you just go ahead and put it in through the process again. Basa v'dam sheberucha shel kadosh baruch hu. Basa v'dam. So this is the way that Tanabe Yishmael reported what the daughter of the Caesar said. In other words, it's amazing. She believed. She was a believer. She said that, look, the Ruach HaKadosh Baruch, a bas v'dam, that's, so madach, a bas v'dam, which creates a kli. If it breaks, it can recreate it. Certainly a human being, which was created by Kadosh Baruch Hu, if it breaks and he did not, you can bring it back. Alachas kama kama. Okay? Certainly you can bring it. Now, the question is, what's the big chiddush that you come from the ground? Don't we all come from the ground? Don't we all come from the ground? Now, I'm not sure I sent this out. I think I did. Yeah, I did send it out, right? Okay, I something came to it. Okay, good. I sent out something. It's a piece from the Ben Yoyadav, the Yosef Chaim of Baghdad. Okay, and I think it's gonna address this Indian. Okay, here you go. So this is the Ben Yoyadav. Baram Hakasha. If the moide what's written in the Torah, what's the question? But like a siv b'Torah, vayitza Hashem elokim es adam afa min adama. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created adam afa min adama. Nimsa ha'afa nase ber yishal adam. The adam is what? Is the one that created man. Ukasha asa ba'adam arisha kain yase b'tchias hamesim. And just like by Adam Rishon, he came from the ground, by Tchias HaMesim also you come from the ground. So what? Uma kashle afar michaya. Kivin the havi mina afa beria, koshken shei beria mina afa tchilasa beria. Good. In other words, so if they're moed in the Torah, what's the kasha? The original Adam came from the ground. So when you come back to life, you shouldn't come from the ground. What they were the shtoimim. What's the shtoimim? That's where he came from. And v'meina moed b'Torah. Lama oisa kushas al masha oimrim bepeh betchia, right? If they're not moida in the Torah, lama oisa, why they make the question on by tchias hamesim? Yasa kusha masha kasa b'Torah. Let them go ahead and question the Torah itself. Vayitza Hashem elokim es adam afa min adama. Eich afa yeh ber yishal adam. Guys, you hear the kasha? You're telling me what's your question? How can the ground possibly go ahead and recreate a person? So if they believe in the Torah, what's the kasha? Adam came from the ground. And if they don't believe in the Torah, why are they questioning with the Chiyas HaMesim? They should question in Bereshis. How is it possible for a person to be created from the ground? Gewaldige kasha. Gewaldige kasha. So what's his teretz? Venerally b'siyata d'shmaya. He always writes beautifully. You guys, he always writes b'siyata d'shmaya. Venerally b'siyata d'shmaya with Hashem's help. The hu moide b'chol mashakasa b'Torah. The Caesar was moide. B'briyas ha'olam. He was moide what happened by Briyas Adam. For Adam b'sheish mei bereshis. In other words, there's no question about what Hashem did. Ach mishum dechsiv. It says in Koheles, ein kol chodesh tachas hashemesh. There's nothing new. Once the world's created, there's nothing new. Therefore, maksha afora michaya. The original Adam I can understand. Sheish mei bereshis I can understand. But ein chodesh tachas hashemesh. Once it's in the world, that's the way it is. So why would that's his kasha? The ein kol chodesh. The chol sheyesh tugmasa be'olam ein ze b'chal ein kol the im chaya havilei bria michudeshes. The Shiva, and what they answer, the ein kan kushya, the ein kol chadash. There's nothing new. The chol yesh tugmasa be'olam ein ze b'chal ein kol chadash. Anything that has a dogma in this world, there's nothing. It's not going to chiddush. U'kamesh kasav b'gemara shetoyin ois the Talmud al mash kasav, and it says in the future. A seed there to Yisrael lahoitzi glis Gemara and Shabbos, fellas. A seed there to Yisrael lahoitzi glis gois v'klei melas. Eretz Yisrael is going to give out bread like bread. It's going to grow bread and it's going to grow fine wool. Right? V'asi the isha leile b'chol yoim. The ein kol chadash tachas hashemesh. So, no, but that is chadash. V'heishiv le'er gamliel arecha dugmasan ba'olam. I'll show you it's not chadash. I'll show you a dugma in the world. V'heim kimeim. You look at truffles, guys, truffles and mushrooms. They generate right away. You know what they look like? They look like bread. They look like loaves of bread. Ubar koira v'tarnagoylis. What's about bar koira? Bar koira is it's a palm bist. It's palm bist. If you look at palm bist, it looks like here. It looks like what? Like a klimelas. For Tanagolis, a chicken can go ahead and give birth right away. So we're going to see the next thing, okay? So the Mela, the kasha he asked was not that something, how's it possible something come from the ground? They knew something come from the ground by Maisa Bereshis. But afterwards, what? Ain't kol chodesh shachas hashemesh. And what's the answer? It's not chodesh. And we're going to see that right now. That's talking not chodesh. Okay.
Kind of fascinating that these people they knew Koheles, she knew Tehillim,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Okay. So, where am I? Amalei mina Ravami. This min told Ravami, Ami risoy the shachvei chai. I heard that the dead come to life. For ha'av they're hurt. V'afara mikochaya. Amalei. So Rav Ami told him, Emshel chem mashal l'madav v'doimer l'melech bas v'dam shomal avodav l'chu bonli palterim gedolim. Go build me big palaces, b'makom shein mayim v'offer, in a place where you can't make cement because there's no place to mix the offer with the water. Holchu banoisam, they went and built it. Liyamim naflu, it fell down. Amalehem chasru banoisam b'makom sheyesh offer mayim. Go to a place where there is offer mayim and build it. Amrulai, they said to him, Ein ani yechaylim. So Koyas loved the Melech got angry at them. B'amalehem b'makom shein mayim v'offer b'nisem achshav sheyesh mayim offer al achas kam v'kama, right? And now lachas kam v'kama, that you shouldn't be able to go ahead and build. You shouldn't be able to go ahead and build. Rashi says ach sheish mayim v'hachinam yakadosh baruch hu yoytzer es adam mitipa katana shein b'mamish. Kadosh baruch hu creates adam from a piece of zera, a drop of zera. The koshken sheyachal lebroisle min ha'afa, certainly can create it from afa. Inami koloilam kula yoytzer mitohu. He created everything from tohu. So madach, in a place where you didn't have afa or mayim, but the place where you do have mayim, you have the zera, certainly you could create. Now is where the binyo has been kasher is. So what's his question? L'chayra, the original Adam came from the ground. And if you don't believe this, say lebika, go to the valley, v'ra achbar, and you'll see literally a rat. Shayom chetzi of basar, today it's half basar, the chetzi of adama. Alamacha hishritz, the next day it swarms forth, v'nasa kula basar, and what? It becomes kula basar. Shema toimer lizman meruba, you might think it takes a long period of time. Alo lahar, go up to the mountain, v'ro, and you'll see shayom ein ba'el chilazayin echad. You only see one chilazayin. Lamacha yadu geshamim v'nismali kolam kulam chazyonis. Okay, so let's get. What's the kasha, guys? Loy to ben yoyada. The kasha is we believe in Ma'aser Bereshis ben chadash shachas hashemesh. So what does Rami say? Go to the valley and you'll see an achbar. Look at Rashi, guys. Achbar shekorin doesn't look good. Squirrel, a scroll. You see the word squirrel in that word? Squirrel, right? There are those that do not go ahead and reproduce from sexual reproduction. There is, Lenny, you're going to love this. There is, in the 9th parak in Chulin, in Mishnah Vav, there's a question about an animal that is half basar and half earth, if it's metama. There's a parish called Tiferes Yisrael on that, and it's quoted by a German scientist called Link, and he wrote a sefer, and he says there is such a thing, and it's called a springmus, or a spring mouse, that it reproduces from the ground. So again, this is so Yedua. Otzko brought it down. It's Yedua. The ninth parak is Arva Reitiv and Mishnah Vav. And he says it, and the Tiferes Yisrael says it, and he brings in a German guy that says it exists. So he's saying, you don't believe me that what Hashem could do it? Ein chadash tachas hashemesh, guys. Now look at now it's very geschmack. If you take a look at the Ben Yoyada, right, you probably lost the book, right? Okay, so now if you look at the Ben Yoyada now, guys, it's very geschmack. So your question was, Ein kol chadash tachas hashemesh. Well, guess what? What? Let me where? So Kameyem Ubakoyer Tadagolis V'chein Kan Yesh Dugma the Matzinu Sheish Beria Naitzeres Min Amayim. We have a barrier created from the water, the Chilazain. The Kol Shkein Shetia Naitzus Min Offer, and certainly what I guess you bury Naitzeres Min Amayim as a human being. The Kol Shkein Shetia Naitzeres Min Offer, it can be created from offer. Even the Ikka Dugma ain't kan Chadash Tachas Hashemesh. Therefore, it's not Chadash Tachas Hashemesh, and that's what he's telling you. Now, regarding the sherets, the achbar, this type of squirrel creature that's created, this rodent type creature that was created from a combination of the ground and basa. What about the chilazon? Now, Rashi tells us the chilazon. If you look at the top, guys, the top of Tzadik Aleph, Amid Aleph, the left side, says Rashi chilazon is toilas. It's some type of worm. Sheyotzim in hayam that comes out of the sea. Echad l'shivmshon, and once every 70 years. And when it's down, we go ahead and make the tcheles. They only saw one. So now, the problematic here is this chilazain. We've been through this, right? Menachas, it's the snail called the Murex trunculus. We've been here. It doesn't live in the mountains. It lives in the sea. So the Yad Ramah, for that reason, has a problem with Rashi saying that it appears in the mountain. Where does it appear in the mountain? Yad Ramah says it's some type of worm. Rashi says it's a worm. It's a snail, which I guess you can look like a worm. A snail without its shell looks like a worm. Okay, anyway, but anyway, regarding the answer to the min, it's a good answer. Hashem could do that. He can do it's in Chodesh Tachas Shemesh. Only Ahumina leGavia ben Pesisa. Now, who's Gavia ben Pesisa? Rashi, Kach Shemai on left side. And he had crookedness in his back. Come on, he was a hunchback, fellas. He was a hunchback. Gavia ben Pesisa, he was a hunchback. So again, Pesisa seems to be, according to some Mefarshim, alludes to that. And why did this min say to Gavia ben Pesisa, "Vai lechoin chayavaya"? Woe to you chayavaya, Rashi says, sinners. The amrisa that you say, may say chaya. Those that are dead can come back to life. The chaya mesa, those that are alive die. The mesa chaya, those that are dead come to life. That's what he asked them at Chiyas Mesim. Amalei. So Gavia ben Pesisa said, "Vailechoin chavaya." Woe to you, you sinners. The amrisa may say loichayin. That you say that what the mesim won't come back to life. The lehavi chaya, right? The havi chaya loy kol shekain. Madach the lehavi chaya, he's able to bring to life. The one that was not alive at all, Hashem could bring to life. One that was once upon a time alive could bring back. Guys, remember the Meshech Chachma from yesterday, right? It's a bigger chiddush to bring a person into this world than it is to once he was in this world to bring him back. That was his mashal. Like Kol Shekain. So Amalei. So the min told Gavia ben Pesisa. He told him, "Chayav korosli, you call me a sinner. Ikaimna beitna b'cha. If I'll come and I'll kick you. Upashtina lach musech minach, and I'll go ahead and make you back straight." Amalei. So Gavia told him, "Imata oisakain reifei umen tikra. This chahar betitel. To be called a big doctor, you make a lot of money." Right. Now, guys, there's something called Megillus Tainus. Now, Megillus Tainus is not the Megillah that you do fast. Megillus Tainus is the days you do not fast. The Mevatel Megillus Tainus, the only 2 days we know are Chanukah and Purim. So these are days where really good things happen to the Jews. These are days where really good things happen to the Jews, and this is one of them. Tanur Rabbanan. B'Yesr Abba B'Nisan. It was removed, the challenges, the foreign governors from Yehuda Yerushalayim. Kishabo b'nei Africa, when the children of Africa came. Now, fellas, when Yeshua, when he came into Eretz Yisrael, he sent three proclamations to the Zion Umas. Leave, stay and be indentured servants, or fight. One nation left, guys. The Girgashi left. The Girgashi left, and where'd they go? Africa. They went to Africa. So now they're showing up. These people from Africa are showing up with the following taina. Kishabo b'nei Africa lodin im Yisrael b'fnei Alexandra Moikdan. Alexander the Macedonian, also known as what? Alexander the Great. So this is the time of the the shibud of the Yevonim, right? Amrulai, the Gegoshim said to him, Eretz Canaan Shalano he. Eretz Canaan belongs to us. Guys, in Chodesh Tachas Hashem, they're always fighting over that land. Since the beginning of time, they're fighting over that land. Eretz Canaan Shalano he, Dechsiv, Eretz Canaan L'Gvulei Seha. Eretz Canaan to its Gevulim, Ukenan Avuan the Hanu Inshi, and Canaan was the father, right? That Cham had 4 sons, and one of the sons was about Fut, Canaan, Cush, and Cham, and Canaan. The last son was Canaan. So Fut, Mitzrayim, Cush, and Canaan. Right now, so Amar Luhu Gevia ben Psisa lechachamim. Listen, Tanu li Rishus. You get in Rishus to deal in front of Alexander Mokdim with these Gergoshim, these Africans. Ve'elech v'adani mohem. L'fnei Alexandra Mokdon. Im yinatzchuni. If they're victorious over me, Amru Hedjit Shabanu Nitzchatem. And Hedjit Shabanu among them, we were victorious. Because again, he's this person who's a hunchback. Ve'im anin inatzayach Isam. Amru lehem Taurus Moshe Nitzchatem. And Amos the Torah say it's Torah of Moshe. So Nasnai Rishus, they gave him Rishus, V'halach v'dani mohem, and Gevia was done with them. Amar lehem, mehechinatem evim raya. Where you bring a raya from? Amar lehem in Torah. What does it say in the Torah? Eretz Canaan l'gvul seha. Eretz Canaan to its gevul. So Amar lehem, afani lo yavi lechem raya min Torah. I'll also only bring a raya from the Torah. Shneimar v'yomer or Canaan eved avodim yelachav. Right, that Chum did an avera. We had this Gemara earlier, and the 4th son was cursed. Right. We said, why did the Gemara say that one of the pshatim was that he stopped him from having a 4th son, that he was Messiris him, right? He stopped him from having a 4th son. So he cursed his 4th son. So Ur Canaan, Evan Echav. And you're a descendant of you're descendant of Canaan, it's your taina. Evet Shekana Nechasim. An Evet that acquires Nechasim. Evet Lemi, Nechasim Lemi. Who does the Evet belong to? Who the Nechasim belong to? Obviously, what? Jews. And it's been many years since you served us. Right? Yeah. So not only do we owe you the land, you owe us. So Amlam Alexandra Malka, he said to him, you know what? Guy, as we say, Alexander probably told him, Kenny, Erzak good. He said, he's saying good, right? So he told him, so, give him an answer. So Amrullah, give us 3 days. Naslahem, Alexander gave these people 3 days. So Naslahem Zman Bodku, they looked for an answer. Matsu Tshuva Miyad Baruch and ran away. Lanichim said their Sayem, and they left their fields. Kishain Zruis when they were planted. The Karmeim and the vineyards. Kishain Noitois when they were, full of vines. And Bnei Yisrael couldn't go ahead and plant. So it was very serendipitous, as we say, that at that time that this case came in front of Alexander. Another case. Shuv hamachas bar b'nei Mitzrayim London Yisrael lifnei Alexandros Maikdan Amuloi Harioima. It says Vashem Nasan Eschena Am b'nei Mitzrayim v'Yishalom. Right, and they borrowed. They left Mitzrayim. What did they do? They borrowed all the Kesev Azav. It doesn't say they sold it to them. It says they borrowed. Tanu Kesev Azav Shenataltim Mimenu. We want it back. Amr Gevia ben Psisa lechachamim Tnali Rishus ve'elech v'adani mohem l'fnei Alexandros. Im yetzинchuni Amr lehem hedjish shabanu nitzachtem v'mani netzayach esam Amr lehem Toras Moshe Rabbeinu nitzchattem. Nasna Rishus, they gave Gevia Rishus. V'alach v'dani mohem. He went and dealt with the Mitzrayim. Amlehem hechimat mevian raya. Amlehem in Atayra. Amlehem afani lo yevi lechem raya min Atayra. Shnamar u'Moshe b'nei Yisrael asher yashu Mitzrayim. How long were they there for? Shloishim shana v'arba me'ah shana. 430 years. Tnu lanu schar avoda shel shishim riboy. Give us the schar avoda of 600,000. Sheshibaratem in Mitzrayim, that you enslaved in Mitzrayim. Shloishim shana v'me'ah shana. Okay, you know what? You want your money back? Okay, no problem. We'll give you your money back. Pay up the wages of 600,000 people that you meshubit for 430 years. Even without overtime. Even without overtime. No. Anyway, So Amalehem Alexandra, Mike Dunn, Hechsiru Le Tshuva, give him an answer. Amalei Tnu Lana Zman Shleishim Yom, give us Shleishim Yomim, Naslam Zman Botkov Le Matzu, Tshuva Miyad Nichus Edaseyim, Kashin Zrois, the Kameim, Kashin Noitoyis, the Baruch Hu Vaysa Shana Shriyas Haisa. Again, victorious. V'shuv Hamachas Bo B'nei Yishmael, U'B'nei Keturah, came B'nei Yishmael, the oldest son of Avram, and Keturah, who Avram took. Some people say it was Hagar on the rebound. Some people says no. But Avram and Avinu, he went ahead, and in the lifetime of Yitzchak, sent him away, B'nai Keturah. He had a bunch of children, sent them away. Right? B'nai Keturah. Lodanim Yisrael Lefnei Alexandros Magdan. Amru Loi Eretz Canaan Shalanu V'Shalachem. Okay? The Arabs here are saying it's both of ours. They're not saying it's ours, it's both of ours, right? Shalanu V'Shalachem. Dechsev, Ve'ela Tolis Yishmael ben Avraham, Uksiv Eila Tolis Yitzchak ben Avraham. So in other words, Amaida, Yishmael was the son, and Yitzchak was the son, and Amaida, they both have a piece of the action. Alnam Gevia ben Psisa, L'chachamim, Tenol Li Rishus Ve'elach Vodan Imahem Lefnei Alexandrus Maikdon, Im Yenetzchuni Amru Hed Yosheman Netzachtem. V'mani Atzechesam Amru Lem Taris Moshe Rabbeinu Nitzchalatem. So Nasan Lo Rishus, they gave him Rishus, Halach Vodan Imahem, he went, he judged with them, and Amalehem Mehechinatem Mevi and Raya, where you bring a Raya that you have a claim to Eretz Yisrael. Amalei Minatayra, Amalem Afanilo Yavi Raya Minatayra Shnemar. Vayitin Avram Eskol Shaloi. Avram gave everything that he had li Yitzchak. Ulebnei Apilakshim Ashel Avram Nasan Avram Matanos. And the Bnei Pilakshim that what Avram gave Matanos. Good. Av Shnasan Agartin Lebanov B'Chayav. An Av that gives Agartin. No, it's called Taishtis, his legacy. In other words, he gave over the land to Yitzchak. B'chayav, v'shiger zeh me'al zeh, and sent away those children. Klum yesh l'zeh al zeh klum. In other words, how can you possibly b'nei Kedur b'nei Yishmael have a taina when you were sent away? My matanis, what did he give them? Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba melamed shemas lahem shem tumah. He gave them shem tumah. Look at the last Rashi in the page. Shem tumah kishuf u'maisa shedim. He gave him kishuf u'maisa shedim. It's very interesting. L'chayra, you have to hold that this is the day that for Ben Noach, we had a day, guys, that kishuf is asa, right? So this has to be because my name of the kishuf is muto, or he was telling them. It says that they were bnei kedem. They went to kedem. Kedem, the Teres Chaim says kedem. They were involved in kishuf over there. So since they were involved in kishuf, they had to know how to break the spells and different things. It seems Avram Avinu was an expert in that, so they had to know what to do. So he wasn't giving them for them to practice, but it was given to them for preventative services. Amalei Antoninus the Rebbe. Okay, now Antoninus is guys, and Rebbe had an unbelievable relationships. Antoninus the Rebbe in Parshas told us, it says, by Yisrotzu Abadim Bekirba V'Taimer Kain Lamas Anoichi V'Telach Lish Hashem. By Yisrael, right? Shnei Lumim Vitnei Shnei Lumim Yachim Fredu Elohim Elohim Yamatz Rabbi Yabait Soya. Rashi says, who did you have in your stomach? You had Rebbe and Antoninus. Guys, the relationship between Esav and Yaakov was supposed to be the relationship between what? Antoninus and Rebbe. That illustrated. In other words, Rebbe using his Chochmah for Torah, Antoninus, the Roman, protecting him. And that's what Esav was supposed to be. That was supposed to be. So Antoninus is, in English, guys, is Marcus Aurelius. He's Marcus Aurelius. That's who he is? Okay, that's as much as I know. I think he fought against Russell Crowe. Anyway, so says the little more Bakias, right? Anyway, Amalei Antoninus. Amalei Antoninus the Rebbe. Gufun Neshama Yechel lift the Ratzim and Adin. The Gufun Neshama, they're able to pattern themselves in Din. Ketzad Guf Aima Neshama Chatasa. Shemayom Shepirish Mimeni. I mean, Mutal Kevin. The Guf says, as soon as Neshama left, I couldn't do anything. I was Kevin Daima Bekever. When the Neshama Imeres Guf Chata. Shemayom Shepirashti Mimenu. I mean, Parachas Ba'avik Kitzipor. When I left him, I was flying around. I wasn't doing anything wrong. So Amalei Emshel Chamashal Ma David Daima LeMelech Basav Adam Shali Pardes Na. He had a beautiful orchard. V'Haye Boy Amid Beis. V'Haye Boy Bakurais Na. He said beautiful figs there. And v'Hayshe Ba Shnei Shaimrim. And he went ahead and he put two Shaimrim. Echad Chiger. One was a cripple. V'Echad Suma and was blind. so that the cripple can't physically watch, and the summa can't see. Listen, I see beautiful figs, but I'm not able to get them. The pardes. Bo bar kiveni, come and lift me up. Unavim la'achlam, and we'll bring him to eat. In other words, you'll be my transportation, I'll be your eyes. So Rachav Chigal Gabe Suma, the cripple went on the Suma. Ve'aviyam v'achlam, liyamim bo bal pardes, amalehem, b'choris nois hechen hein, amalei chiga, klum yesh li reglayim lahalech behen. Amalei Suma, klum yesh li anayim lirois, ma'asa. So what did the Dayan do? What did the owner of the orchard do? So Hirkiv Chigar al Gabi Suma, Vidan Islay. Put them one on top of the other, and he judged them. Kechad. Afa Kadosh Baruch Hu, Sota Kadosh Baruch Hu, maybe Neshama. He's going to take the Neshama of Vizarke Beguf, and he's going to put it in the body. Vidan Isam Kechad. The judgment is one, Shenemar, Yikra El Shemayim Me'al, Vel Oretz Ledin. Ledin Amoy. Yikra El Shemayim Me'al, Zu Neshama, Vel Oretz Ledin is Imoy Zeh Hakuf. Right, so therefore, that you see that it's going to be judged as one. So that's what Rabbi answered Antoninus. I'm only Antoninus the Rabbi. Ma chama yoitza b'mizrach v'shekas b'mariv. Why does it go up in the east and set in the west? In other words, Amalei iavi ipcha nami havi hachi. If it would have gone in the west, you would have asked me why does it settle in the east. So honestly, excuse me, iavi ipchas nami hachi havi honestly. Amalei. So Antoninus said hachi kamin ilcha. V'mashay kas b'mariv. In other words, it seems that if it rises in the east, let it settle in the east. It seems like this, fellas, that let it go, not like this, but let it circle around and go down. In other words, go around. During the day, it shouldn't go around like this. It should go around and come down back to over here. I don't physically understand the Metzias, but that's what he seems to be saying. So Amalei, so Rebbe taught Antoninus, Kadei litin shalom lekaina. He sets in the west in order to go ahead and greet, give peace to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shneimar utzva shemayim lecha mishtachavim. And Hashem is in the west, guys. That's where the Kachik Kadashim is in the west, in the Beis Hamikdash. Guys, remember, you walked in Shainikna, you walked into east, you're going from east to west, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in the west. Amalei v'teisi ad palga the rakia v'titein shalma v'teil. Right? Why doesn't it go, set in the middle of the day? It doesn't have to go all the way to the west. Go from the east. In other words, it makes sense to go back to the east. So the only reason going to the west is to give shalom. Go to half a day, give shalom, and then come back. So Rabbi told him, if you do that, so he told him, mishum poilim mishum oivei drachim. The work is because of the workers and because of what? Of the travelers. Like Rashi says, guys, to the right. V'teisi apalga the rakia, the im lekach miskavenes to give shalom to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, lama leches betoicha ma'iriv. Pabay adem tzoy shel rakia, go to the middle, v'tishka l'sham, and sink over there. Umisham tishtachve klapi ma'iriv, shekein derech b'nei adam shemishtachve b'rochak l'fnei hamelech. They don't have to go up to the king themselves. They go ahead and mishtachve at a distance. V'eini miskara kolkach. So why did the Rebbe answer? Misham poilim. The ilukain, if they would go in the middle of the day, would set hayamachshich pisaim shekashachama beemsa rakia meira biyosa. Where it's in the middle of it's the hot time of the day. It's very, very bright. The svurim shedayin yeshas biyoim, and they would think there's a lot of time left in the day. Vavi poilim shoyim b'malach, then they would delay in the malacha at shechashecha till it gets dark. So therefore, you know what? They're not going to get the job done, guys, because it's still so bright. They wouldn't know when it's getting dark. To find an inn to stay in. Therefore, it gets, in other words, it's mashma fellas, it would settle midday, it would be instant. It would go from light to dark. But when you go to the west and gives you time to settle, you see that the sun's going down. Right? And the or gets dimmer, then we know. So that's what Rebbe told Antoninus. The Omli Antoninus the Rebbe, Neshama me'emasai nitna ba'adam. When is neshama given to a person? Mishas pikida or mishas yitzira? What does Pekida mean? Says Rashi to the right. Mishosha hamalach poiked hatipa. From the time the malach presents the tipa in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or maybe lefnei hamakim, matia aleha. Kedamina per kol hayad b'masechta nida. The malach comes and says it's going to be this, it's going to be this, and maybe this. So does the get its neshama at that time? Oy mishas yitzira, or at the time of conception. So Amalei says mishas yitzira at the time of conception. Amalei evshech haticha shel basel medesh shloisha yomim beloy melach veinim asrachas el mishas pekida. And we're saying, is it possible, right? Is it so? I think they said, how is it possible that it could have its neshama? How is it possible to have its neshama? Yeah, I'm not saying this right. Mishas yitzira. I thought it meant mishas conception. Okay. Rashi. Can a piece of meat exist 3 days without preservation of salt? Without spoiling. Okay, guys. How come by Har Sinai he had to separate for 3 days? How come by Har Sinai he had to separate from for 3 days? It's because zera is only tame when it's potent, when it can go ahead and impregnate. After 3 days, it can't. So it seems like this: the pekida took place over here, and the yitzira took place over there. The pekida is the beginning of the 3 days. How is it possible for those 3 days for it to exist without a neshama? How is it possible for it to exist 3 days without a neshama? It'll spoil. Just like meat can't exist without preservation, so too this can. If it has its neshama, it can be preserved. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So so Rabbi said at the time of conception, and he said to him, how is it possible for it to last? Amalei said unto the Rabbi, Efshach haticha shel basel medesh shloisha yomim b'lei melach v'enim asrachas. El mishas pekida. It must be mishas pekida. Amarei dabezel lamdani Antoninus. This lamdani Antoninus taught me umikra masayita, and the pasuk goes ahead and supports him. Shenemar upekudascha shomra ruchi. From the moment of your attention, pekudach. From the moments of your attention, shomra ruchi. You watch my ruach. So what does it mean? From the ruach, my ruach neshama. From the time pekuda was watched. For Amalei Antoninus the Rebbe. When you get Yetzirah, Mishas Yitzira, or Mishas Yitzia, at the time of conception or at the time of birth. Amalei, so Rebbe said Mishas Yitzira, at the time of conception. Amalei said Antoninus and Cain, Bayit b'mei ima v'yaitza. You know that Esav was kicking around in there, right? Mm-hmm. So the Chayav had a Yetzirah, it would try to get out. So I'm a Rebbe, Lamadani Antoninus, the Makrom Esayish Nemar, the Pesach Chatas Roivitz, to the opening of your womb, the Chatas is Roivitz. Reshlakas Rami, Reshlakas Yes Estira, Ksiv, Bom, Iver, Upiseach, Horav Yoledes Yachtov, Ukasiv, Oz Yidale Ka'ayel, Piseach, Votroin, Loshan Elaim, okay, Ki Nifka Uba Midbar, Mayim Necholam Ba'arava. Okay, so what's the kasha? It says Rashi. Look at Rashi. Rashi will tell us the question. To the left, guys, upper left. Bom iver upiseach shechayin imumin. When they come back to life, they're going to come back to life with their mumin. Bom by tchias hamesim shechayim imumin. They come back with their mumin. Uksiv os yidale ka'ayel piseach the mashma shemisrapoyin. It's mashma they got better, so it's a stira. Are they going to be brought back with their mumin, or are they going to come back, dancing a jig? You have to, it's St. Patty's Day, right? So they come back with, moving around. So that was the kasha. So hakeitzad, oin the mimumin u'misrapoyim. You know what's going to happen? They're going to come up with their mum, but in nachnami they're going to get cured. Ula rami, ksiv, bila hamavas lenetzach u'mach Hashem dimim me'akal upon him. Lasid lavoi HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to go ahead and is going to swallow up Misa. Uksiv ki anar ben meya shana yamos lo yiyah misham oid. Ul yomim, there won't be any young days, but you see there'll be death, but may will die. So the is lasid lava is going to be death or not? Like Kasha, Can be Yisrael, there won't be. Can be Kacham, there will be. Fred the Gemara, why are you gonna lost the love? What is it? Why are they gonna be there? Why are they gonna be any goyim there? Says Hanach Tiksibahu v'amdu Zarim v'Ra'ut Saintchem. You'll have they'll Zarim the Zar will go stand up and he'll v'Ra'ut Saintchem. They'll graze your sheep. U'bnei Necha ikrechem and bnei Nechar will be your farmers. V'Karmechem and they'll take care of your vineyards. So that's one teretz. Rav Chisda Rami, Ksiv v'chafra halavana ubusha hachama kimol Hashem tzvakos. Uksiv v'hoya or halavana ka'or hachama or hachama yeshiv v'sayim kar shivas hayamin. So you have a kasha. Is it going to be dim or not be dim? Like kasha kam yemos HaMashiach, right? The Mos HaMashiach it's going to be ka'or chama. It's going to be like the sun. Kan leilam haba. It's going to be 7 times the amount. It's going to be a tremendous. Light will be dim. Okay, Rashi says. Mos HaMashiach will be regular. Olam haba, which is Chias HaMesim, will be brighter. Will Shmuel Dama ein bein Olam Hazel Mos HaMashiach el Shim Goyis Bavad like Kasha Kam b'Machne Tzadikim Kam b'Machne Shechina. And Machne Tzadikim will be super bright. Machne Shechina regular, and Machne Shechina will be super bright. Rav Rami Ksiv Ani Amis v'Echya. I'll bring to death. I'll be back to life. Ksiv Machatzti v'Nei Erpa. I have wounded v'Nei Erpa. What does Rashi say, guys? Right. Ksiv ani elmis v'echya, the mashma kashem shani elmis es adam, just like I kill a man, kachani mechayehu, I'll bring him back to life. Kishemeis balmum, I made v'chay balmum, u'chesiv, in other words, just like he was a balmum in his death, he'll be a balmum in his life. U'chesiv mechatzi ani yerpek, sheku mechaye marpes ha'machatz, I made sholem. So in other words, similar to the first question, that we had by Ula, is it going to be mum or not? It's the question of Reish Lakish. Amakodesh Baruch Hu, mashani meimis ani mechaye, whatever the way he was in life will be when he bring him back, and when he gets back, I'll cure him. I might think misa one person, chaim another person, like it's normal. Just like Mechitza and Refu will be one individual, so to Misa and Chaim in the same individual. Mikan, the tshuva lo oimim ain't Tchias HaMesim in the Torah. Here's a tshuva that is Tchias HaMesim. Tanya, Amr Remeya. Minan Tchias HaMesim in the Torah, Shenemar, Oz Yashir Moshe Ubnei Yisrael, Ashashir Azai Slashem. So lo Nemar, El Yashir. It doesn't say they sang, but Yashir they will sing. Mikan Tchias HaMesim in the Torah. Mikan Tchias HaMesim in the Torah. So, what is Oz Yashir after with Tchias HaMesim? So guys, listen to this. This is beautiful. I heard this from my son Simcha, who heard it from Rav Sternbuch, who heard it from Rav Arami Belz. Again, I heard it from my son Simcha, who heard it from Rav Sternbuch, so sein gesund und stark, who heard it from Arami Belz, Sechet Tzaddik Kadosh Levracha. He survived the war. Rav Aaron, they took him out. They killed out his family. They smuggled him out. It was a big nest that they were able to get the Belzer Rebbe out. He was Rav Aaron. He was a Malach Elokim. A Moifis, they say Shen Kemohu. Moifis, he did Moifsim, unbelievable. And he was speaking to, I don't know which Shabbos it was Pesach. He was speaking to the Holocaust survivors. And he said the following. He says, by Kriyas Yamsuf, he had the Mitzrayim chasing him. Mitzrayim sunk Bayam. Do you think these people were like super happy? You think about it. 4/5 of Klal Yisrael died Makas Cheshech. That means everyone who survived lost somebody. Everyone who survived lost somebody. They always lost somebody. How is it possible as Yashir? Because they realized I lost him, but Be'ez Hashem in the future, they'll be Tchias HaMesim and I'll see them again. That's like Oz Yashim Moshe Tchias HaMesim. They'll sing. And therefore, even though all of you lost so much, you hear this, guys? You hear it? Peladik, no? Peladik. Yeah, Peladik. Oz Yashim. Then you could sing also. Just like they sang, because they knew that the Tchias HaMesim will see it again. So too, you poor people, including himself, who lost his whole mishpacha, you'll be able, Oz Yashim, you can sing. That's the connection between Tchias HaMesim and Oz Yashim. I have it written down over here, Baruch Hashem, because I want to remember it. I have this big pachad. My Gemara one day going to pick up, and all the papers are going to fall out, and it'll be gone. Okay, geschmack, very geschmack. So, so you seeing Oz Yashia was speaking about the future. I'm going to be sure ben Levi. Excuse me. A similar idea. Oz Yiboni Yeshua Mizbech Lashem. Then Yeshua built a Mizbech Lashem. Bona lo yinam, doesn't build. Eli Yiboni, he will build. He'll rebuild in the future. El Miyata Oz Yivne Shloima Bama Lakomush Shiketz Moyav. Oz, he will build Shloima to Komush and Avodah Zarah. Hachanami the Yibana. Why do you have to say Malov a cost of Kilu Bona? The Torah considers like Rabbi allowing his wife to serve the Avodah Zarah. The Navi considers if he built it, so it's no raya. Hilalucha that they praise loy nemar, eli halucha they will praise. Mikan l'tchias hamesim in a Torah. B'mishum alevi kolay meshira b'olam hazeh zoicha v'omer s'olam haba. Anyone says shir in this world, we zoicha to say it in the next world. Shnemar asher yoshev esecha oid yalucha sela. Amar Rav Chia bar Abba Amar Rav Yochanan minayin l'tchias hamesim in a Torah. Shnemar koil tzayfayich nasu koil yachtav yiranenu. Right, the voice of your seers. They shouted in unison, they sing. Rinanu sang le nemar, Eli Yarananu, they will sing. Mikal Tchias HaMesim min HaTorah. Okay. From Rav Chia bar Abba, Rav Yochanan, Asidim kol Neviim kulan Meshira b'kol echad shnemar kol tzayfayich nasu kol yachtav together Yaranenu. Okay, we'll stop with it.